Canon M50 Mark II's announcement is trash.
Harvey, what do you think of the new Canon M50 Mark II's announcement? Really? Interesting.
All right, so we obviously have to talk about this. Let's do a short little rant video about why, about why the Canon M50 Mark II announcement, release, whatever you want to call it, is just an utter failure. Okay, so I'm gonna look on my phone here on the release notes, the things that Canon is marketing as new in the Canon M50 Mark II. So the first thing is actually something that is very welcome in my opinion, as improved autofocus, including eye autofocus in stills and in video. I'm doing video right now on the Canon M50 with the kit lens. Everything looks great, and there's a little box on my face. Here, look, we'll get meta for a second, and I'll show you that is nice, you know, great face detection. However, it doesn't have a little box on my eyeball, which is what some newer cameras do, and that's what the M50 Mark II will do. Now that is great. That's something that I was pretty much expecting to be in the Mark II, so that's really it for good things. Oh, the other slightly good thing is that the battery life is improved a little bit, but not by a lot. It's the same battery that's in the M50 right now. They could have made the other battery, I think it's the 17, I'll put it on the screen here, that could have went into the M50 Mark II. Feel like that would have been a really big selling point for people who want to vlog, do YouTube, things like that. Bigger battery is always better. Photographers like myself will be much happier with that, but they didn't do that. What else? Okay, so yeah, that's about it for the good. Spoiler alert, Canon, no one buys the Canon M50 for TikTok or Instagram stories, IGTV, whatever. They're not buying this camera. I'm pointing to the M50. They're not buying the Mark II for that purpose. And here's the thing, I'm all for Canon, Sony, Panasonic, whoever, putting vertical shooting in the cameras, fine. That's a nice add-on type thing, but photographers and cinematographers and things like that are not buying these cameras for that. It's a nice to have. It's not, hey, here's a new version of one of our best-selling cameras. The M50 is one of Canon's best-selling cameras. It's not a marketing, point. It's not a major upgrade type thing. All of the things that are going into the Mark II could have been in a firmware update. It could have been like a 50, maybe if they wanted to push it, $100 update that people could choose to get. Canon wouldn't have any overhead cost on that. There's no hardware that would go along with it. A camera body, the packaging for the camera, all those different things, the shipping, the logistics. It would have just been a file that they could have put up on Canon's website, and you could download it, purchase, these features that are really great, and yeah, then they would have made probably more money than selling the actual camera body. Okay, that's a lie. I don't know if it would be more profitable, but it seems like it could have been more profitable. Okay, we didn't even get through the entire list yet. Hold on, let's go. Next is vari-angle touch LCD, already on the M50 Mark I, and a added video record and movie self-timer button for a better vlogging experience. What? Again, this is not a selling point. I think in their little advertisement video, they mentioned that the body didn't need to change because of how just basically perfect the Mark I was. So they were like, we're just gonna put a digital button on the screen. Again, I'm sure that's nice, to tap the screen instead of go for the button. Sure, it's nice. Still, not something you should market the brand new Mark II and say that's like, gee, one of the best selling points for the camera. Okay, next, high quality webcam capability, clean HDMI out. I don't know if the M50 has clean HDMI out, but you can use it with the webcam utility now. Again, firmware update could have been that. Doesn't have to be something that's like, hey, buy a Mark II or upgrade from your Mark I. Look, okay, pay attention. If you already have the Canon M50 Mark I, Put in the comments down below if you are upgrading to the Mark II, because if you are, I would love to know why, because I'm baffled. Okay, wireless YouTube live streaming capability with 2 asterisks next to it. Don't know why, but again, this doesn't really make sense to me, because if you want to live stream to YouTube, you're probably using a different method. It's cool that you can do it wirelessly, but this camera has notoriously bad battery life. The record limit's at 30 minutes, so can you live stream longer than 30 minutes? And even if you could, the battery would die, which then you would have to be hardwired into, say, an outlet with an AC adapter, which would make it not wireless. So what? Okay, and then the last thing that they apparently think is amazing is the ability to tap the screen for autofocus on your subject while looking through the EVF. Now, I don't know if this has changed, but that is already in the Mark I. I use it, it's great. You can basically put your eye up to the viewfinder, and then because there's no joystick, you can use the screen, and you can tell the camera actually where on the screen you want to use the touch and drag AF point as a feature. It's amazing. I love that in the M50, and I don't know how they're going to improve that or why that's a selling point when it's already in the Mark I. Okay, so you get the point. I'm a little worked up. And the reason being is that I really was looking forward to the Mark II of the M50. It's one of my favorite cameras that I've ever bought. I love Canon. I love what they have for the EFM mount system, even though it's not a lot. A lot of people give Canon flack for that. There's only like 8 EFM lenses, but I own 3 of them. I like all of them, including the kit lens. And I was just really excited about possibly more megapixels, maybe unlimited recording and video, maybe a little bit better battery, but they did improve battery life a little bit. I was also just excited to see what they would really improve, because I really do love the M50, and maybe that's their problem, that they thought that the M50 was just perfect and they just wanted to do minor increments. But then that just brings us back to, why wasn't this a firmware update? I'm sure people will pay $50, $100 at the high end for these like 4 or 5 things that really, I don't know. It doesn't warrant a new camera body, and I'm really puzzled by what Canon's done. The only other thing I could think of is that they're pushing the M6 Mark II, which is more expensive than the M50 and the M50 Mark II, even though it's, you know, older, so to speak. So maybe they're marketing that as more of their flagship, but maybe, just maybe, the M5, which has a horrific flip screen, but it's an overall good camera, that is going to get a refresh, or an M5 Mark II, which would really confuse people. M5 Mark II, M50 Mark II. So maybe they'll do like a M7, and that will be like the flagship APS-C EFM mount camera. Other companies like Sony and Fuji have amazing APS-C mirrorless cameras that, you know, are around even the $1,000 mark or more, that just have so much going on. And I feel like the M50 Mark II, it could have had that 850-ish price point with like a lot better features. Like, where's the Animal Eye AF? You didn't buy that from Sony yet? Like, you gotta improve significantly, in my opinion. I'm over here like, now I'm sweating because I'm getting so worked up talking about this. Ugh. Okay, so let's wrap this up though. Some things I was kind of expecting were some things that the Sony a6100 does. Like, it has an unlimited record limit. It doesn't overheat, which my M50's never overheated, but it can't record over 30 minutes. Better low ISO performance. The M50's, you know, low light performance is not the best. I don't know. I really don't know how to feel besides just being frustrated. I mean, I had the money set aside. I'm like, I'm gonna get the Mark II, gonna make a bunch of videos on it. I just felt like it was the next best thing coming to, you know, APS-C mirrorless cameras. Excited about it for photography, even YouTube videos, but a lot of people are gonna be disappointed. I've already seen articles about this just being a complete flop as far as an update, and obviously if you've watched this entire video, I agree. This was a flop. Enough of my complaining and just harping on the same things over and over. What about you guys? Are you interested in the M50 Mark II? If you already have the M50, yeah, just let me know. What are your thoughts and everything down below? And as always, guys, I will see you guys in the next episode. Later.